just about to start our expedition down the Rio Grande River. Right now we're here in Lajitas, Texas, and right behind me on the other bank is Mexico. So we're just loading the canoe up on a sandbar right now before we start our journey down the Rio Grande River.
And the reason we're on this sandbar, apparently the water level is extremely low for this time of year, and the flow is very slow. So the outfitters say we may have a bit of a struggle on our hands, but it's all part of the adventure. Our journey takes us deep into the heart of Texas, to Big Bend National Park. Our departure point is a town of Lajitas, located just outside the park boundary. From here, we will paddle east through the magnificent Santa Elena Canyon, followed by a few days traversing the wide-open desert landscape before reaching scenic Maricel Canyon. We then pass through San Vicente Canyon, and finally, we paddle through Hot Springs Canyon before ending our journey at the Rio Grande Village campground. 36 years ago, I came to the Rio Grande River with my late father, and together we paddled the same stretch of water and into the majestic Santa Elena Canyon. It's kind of emotional for me being here again because I'm here with my son, and together we're going to experience the same things that my father and I experienced all those years ago. It was December 1978, and I had just got my driver's license. My dad and I packed the family station wagon, loaded the canoe on top, and began the long drive to Big Bend National Park in southwest Texas. The plan was to paddle our cedar strip canoe through the spectacular Santa Elena Canyon on the Rio Grande River. But high water levels prevented us from using our canoe, so instead we rented a raft for our journey. Unlike our fragile wooden boat, the raft was durable and would allow us to just bounce off the rocks and the walls as we made our way through the swirling waters and treacherous rapids that lay within this spectacular canyon. For me, it was truly an amazing father and son adventure, and I vowed to someday return. The desert sun shone brightly on us that first day, revealing a majestic and ever-changing landscape of craggy cliffs and towering buttes. And of course, what would cowboy country be like without, well, cowboys? And a few cattle, and some wild horses. With a steady current under us, we made good time. And soon came upon our first stretch of white water.
Over to the right, the left.
Nothing too challenging, but exciting nonetheless.
Haystack up ahead.
For the remainder of our trip, this would become a common occurrence, as we would run upwards of a dozen rapids each day. This is the entrance to Santa Elena Canyon. The park staff here at Big Bend National Park say this is the main reason that people run the Rio Grande River, is to experience the beauty of this canyon. There are sections of it, however, that can be very dangerous. About 2 kilometers in, you come to what's called the rock slide, which are huge boulders clogging the middle of the river. And depending on the water flow, it can be up to Class 4 technical rapids, so it requires a lot of precise navigation. You got to get out and scout. You got to be really, really careful in these canyons.
So it just looks straightforward up to here. I think we can get past this. It's clear once we squeeze through here. So what we can do is we can come through here, and we'll curve off to the left because there's a straight V there. It looks like it's wide enough for the canoe.
Gotcha. So we'll try to go to the left of that gravel bar
And it's straight. It looks really calm going beside the rock wall on that
and then
side.
go over to that gravel beach. that
And
we
we'll
saw.
beach it and we'll scout from there again. So once we get the canoe going, we get down to these two boulders, which essentially separates the river into the Texas gate on the Texas side and the Mexican gate on the Mexican side. The Texas gate, there's a giant stick, tree stump sticking out of there. It looks like it is a bow killer. We might flip if we hit that dead on. It's going to be really technical getting around there. So I think our best bet is to come through the Mexican gate here. It looks actually pretty straightforward at these flows. It's not too fast. A few boils and there's two rocks we got to watch out for, but should be pretty straightforward. With the rock slide behind us, we still had a 10-kilometer stretch of this magnificent canyon to explore. Our little boat seemed so tiny and insignificant, floating along at the bottom of this deep chasm. Our necks strained as we stared skyward, mesmerized by the towering peaks that engulfed us. At times, the river seemed to disappear as it widened out and slowed to a trickle, forcing us to get out and walk the canoe. And then, just as suddenly, the Rio Grande would narrow and speed up, which meant for us, more exciting rapids to run. After stopping for lunch on the Mexican side of the river, we pressed on. By late afternoon, we had left Santa Elena Canyon behind us, as we ventured out into the open desert in search of our next campsite.
On our third day on the river, we entered an area which has been nicknamed the Great Unknown. Now, this does not mean that this section of the Rio Grande River is unmapped or anything quite as sinister as that. No, it's just been given that name because, well, few people choose to paddle this flat, open section deemed to be far less scenic than the spectacular canyons. But for us, the Rio Grande did not disappoint. Fairy tale vistas of the distant Chisos Mountains still captivated our attention and pushed us onwards.
So what's for lunch? It's another flat wrap fiesta.
I'll just pour it right out of the end here because we're almost empty on
So
this
that's
one.
the first barrel almost done, eh?
5 gallons. Well, it's not bad. It's our third day. We still have those others to use.
So that's better. I mean, like, if we get really, really hot weather, that means we have plenty of water.
Okay, what flavor you want? Strawberry, banana, orange? That sounds good.
Well, so far, today's been pretty easy. See, I don't know what the outfitters were talking about when they said, "Oh, we're going to be walking your boat a lot." I mean, we've had to walk our boat twice, if that, I've had the walker boat a couple times, but it's been easy going so far. Rapids have been fun, current's flowing fine. We're making really good progress. Like, it's a lot of hype about nothing so far, but for all we know, there could be mud flats waiting around the corner. So I'll hold my tongue for now. But it's been a pretty relaxing trip. Breathtaking scenery too.
On our fourth day, we continue to paddle the great unknown. Here, the Rio Grande winds its way through the mostly low-lying valleys of the Chihuahuan Desert. For most of this section, the river is slow, interspersed with sections of small but fun white water.
While paddling down the Rio Grande River, there are a number of mandatory items that the National Park Service says you have to have on your boat. There's the obvious ones like an extra paddle and an extra flotation device. And then there's a few extra items. For instance, a fire pan. They want you to have some kind of a metal container to contain all your fire. A very sensitive area down here, they don't want you having open fires anywhere, so all fires have to be contained to some kind of a fire pan. The other thing you need is water, fresh water. Even though we're on the river here, it is contaminated. There's a lot of silt in this water, and apparently there are levels of mercury. So you have to take plenty of water. They suggest at least 1 gallon per person per day. That's going to add a lot of weight to your boat, so take that into consideration. The other thing that you have to take that's a kind of unusual item is a toilet. They don't want you digging cat holes down here. They want you to pack out all solid human waste. So if you're going down the river, you got to take some kind of a toilet with you. Camping in the desert in the wintertime, you never know exactly what kind of weather you're going to get. For instance, yesterday was a gorgeous, sunny, hot day. And then last night we thought our tent was going to blow away. It was so windy, you could feel it pushing in on the side of you. This morning we wake up, winds died down thankfully, but it's very cloudy and it's quite chilly. Hopefully it will warm up.
Today's journey would take us into Maricel Canyon. This is the other really big canyon you'll encounter on a river trip through Big Bend National Park. Here, the Rio Grande picks up speed as it winds its way through this narrow passage. And, just like in Santa Elena Canyon, many large boulders clog the canyon floor. Careful scouting is required to ensure a safe passage.
How's it looking?
Straight line right through. The first part was the hardest part. It's really technical. Take it really slow, picking our way along, avoiding lots of little ledges. Like, it looks pretty good from the shore, but there's lots of ledges and it wants to push you into the wall a lot. Back here it looks pretty good. Just go right through the center of two rocks, nothing in the water. I think we're set for the rest of this.
Good.
There's green paint on there. It's not ours though. Someone's got hung up on there. We're not getting hung up on there.
No way.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm all set, buddy. Let's do this.
See the green paint on that rock ahead of you?
Oh, yes. The stick and the rock.
It's going to try to push us a little more, so we want to stay a little more to the right, I think.
Yep.
Are you good with that stick?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
This will try to push us to the right. There's a rock on our immediate left there. Bend the bow over, the stern's not clear, we're good. We're good. Excellent.
By early afternoon, we had stopped and pitched our tent on the sandy riverbank. Our campsite that night was spectacular. We truly had a $1 million view, situated under the towering walls within the heart of Maricel Canyon.
Put that one near the canyon. Yeah, that'd be nice. The canyon.
The rest of the day was spent hiking and exploring the scenic valleys and side canyons that surrounded us.
It's raining in the desert. It's supposed to be hot and sunny. It's raining all day. Enjoying the rain?
The map. I don't know where we are. It sucks.
We're somewhere on the river.
Cane, mountains. I don't know where we are. This thing sucks. No detail on the Mexican side. Lots of detail on the American side. When you're in a giant plain like this, you have no idea where you are. Because there's no detail on the one bank. And it's like 40 years old.
But of course, we weren't really lost. We knew we just had to keep paddling with the flow of the river, and soon we found ourselves at the bottom of another beautiful gorge. This was San Vicente Canyon, and despite the continuous rainfall, we still enjoyed the magnificent view.
One way to warm up in the desert when it's raining all day. Just find yourself a hot spring.
We were just paddling down the river and we saw some steam rising over here. I knew this part of the river there's some hot springs, but I didn't think we were getting there this early in the day, but we decided, hey, let's check it out. It is really nice in here. Our feet were really cold before. It's really nice and warm. That feels really toasty, Ash. This is great. Oh. If it wasn't so cold, I'd just strip down and go for a swim in here, but this is nice.
Well, not exactly the sunny, hot Texas desert we were expecting down here. Yesterday it rained pretty much non-stop for the whole day. It wasn't heavy, but it was constant. We got pretty wet. Made camp on this little spot here. The problem is everything is so muddy, so the mud gets everywhere. So we always bring a tarp with us in case it rains. Unfortunately, there's no trees to tie the thing to. But there's a lot of these river cane poles. They're growing everywhere along the bank, so they actually make half-decent poles. It's very overcast still, very misty in the mountains in the distance, and chilly. But we can only hope that the sun will be out soon and warm things up for our last day as we head down the Rio Grande. With our wet clothing hanging up to dry, we prepared a warming breakfast of hot coffee and oatmeal. Gradually, the sky above us began to clear, and soon we were once again paddling down the Rio Grande River. Not far downstream, we came upon a grove of palm trees, marking the site of a long-abandoned outpost. At one point, there had been a house, a store, and a post office all located here. The ruins of an old hotel can also be found. This was the location of a once popular spa. A wading pool had been constructed at the river's edge, where the hot springs bubble up from the ground. What a pleasant way to end our Rio Grande River trip after yesterday's paddling through the pouring rain. We're ending our trip near this natural hot spring area. It's a little chilly out today. We're going to get in and enjoy the 105-degree water. For Brad and I, it had been an amazing adventure. Together, we had paddled and hiked nearly 120 kilometers through the Texas desert. We endured rain, mud, wind, and heat. We traversed 4 scenic canyons and dozens of thrilling rapids.
Well, good way to end the trip.
And now, with the Texas sun shining brightly down upon us, we paddled our final leg through Hot Springs Canyon, thus ending our epic 7-day journey along the Rio Grande River through Big Bend National Park.